It's up close and personal. Dr. David Nicol, consultant neurologist from Worcestershire. He's been campaigning on this for a few months now. Morning, David.
Good morning, Elliot, and brilliant report from Isabel there.
Yeah, it's great, isn't it? And it just shows the problem, the fact that some of these websites are springing up and sort of openly and blatantly just selling it for recreational purposes. So what is the picture out there in terms of usage by young people? Didn't you see a patient yesterday, only yesterday, with problems?
Absolutely. Yeah, in fact, it's worse than that, because the website you referred to, which obviously I can't mention for legal reasons, was set up in May. Now, I've actually just done an audit of all admissions to the neurology ward at the QE, which is the main regional neuroscience centre, and obviously that'll be a huge underestimate of the number of cases. So I look back over the last 6 years, the 3 years before the pandemic and the last 3 years. Wasn't a single admission until July 2020. This didn't exist, okay? But the majority of the admissions have been in since the summer. Since that website got set up in May last year. So there's a direct correlation.
So I was going to say, you can directly correlate the people you are seeing to the time that website was set up.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's complete, just, I could go around and show them where to get it, Let's make some arrests.
Yeah, but this is it. It's very difficult because that's, it's such a grey area, isn't it?
I don't believe that it is.
No, it isn't a grey area. Of course it isn't. But it's grey in terms of they can get away with it because they will say that they are selling it for legitimate reasons. But there's no checks. There's no, there is no way of really enforcing it until the law changes, is there?
Well, I met West Midlands Police in November. In fact, forwarded all the addresses and indeed the websites that you've alluded to this morning. And I know that there have only been 4 arrests, not necessarily convictions, since the 2016 Psychoactive Drugs Act. So I guess there is a serious question for the police are they using the existing legislation? And if it's not usable, whether we need to look at what happens in the Netherlands, for example, where they've made retail sales illegal from the 1st of January.
But also, I remember one of our last reports for this. The people who make this stuff, the gas manufacturers' organisations, the people that represent the bodies that do this, they want more legislation, don't they? They want they want this to be more difficult to get hold of. So therefore, you cut down on the recreational use, hopefully. But I mean, so there doesn't seem to be any pushback against this. So why is it not happening?
Well, I think there is a change, and indeed your report today is part of that. I think all of us as a society have not taken this seriously enough. So when I saw West Midlands Police in November, they were saying how they would only generally make arrests if there are other drugs available. And I pointed out that actually the users of this don't use other drugs. In fact, often these people don't drink alcohol.
Is these things that it isn't the largest used drug amongst 16 to 24-year-olds, or the second largest?
And indeed, the patient I saw yesterday, student at 19, I just asked him how many of his friends use this. He said, all of them. Absolutely all of them, okay? So the challenge I would actually say to young people listening to this is, for God's sake, talk to your friends about this, because I find it really, really difficult for people, those who've been affected to actually speak to journalists. But people really do need to know about this.
David, just very quickly, because just in case young people are listening and think a couple of old farts on the radio banging on about something that's harmless. It's not harmless, is it? It can cause long-term damage.
Absolutely not. Absolutely. And, in many ways, I think it's a lot more harmful than some of the other Class A drugs. I'm not suggesting people should use Class A drugs, but, this can cause absolutely long-term neurological disability. People potentially not able to walk properly for the rest of their lives.
Good to speak to you, Dr. David Nicol. It's one of those things, isn't it? I know what it's like. I was there myself. The invincibility of youth, isn't it? You think, of course, it's not going to be me. Of course, it's not going to happen. But it will happen to some people. It's happening to lots of people. He's seeing lots of people that this is happening to. So it isn't harmless. It isn't a bit of fun, and something does need to be done about it, doesn't it?